All right, well, we plan to open the church back up for worship this Pentecost Sunday, and in order to do that, I want to walk you through some of the things that we're going to do. First of all, I want to encourage you, if you can use this front door, use it. That way fewer people come in through the main fellowship hall, fewer people come up through the walkway, fewer things to touch, fewer things to come in contact with. So as you come into the church, try not to use the handrail unless you absolutely have to, but if you do have to, you'll just come up right up to here. Here we have our sanitizing station. If you just touch the handrail especially, grab a dab of the sanitizer, and if you have your offering in your envelope or a check, go ahead and drop it in as you come. Then, as we come in, as you enter the sanctuary, you'll notice things look just a little bit different. That is, we've done some things with the pew cushions. Okay, you've got one down, one up. You want to sit where the pew cushion is down. Do not sit where the pew cushion is up. In between services, we're going to alternate. When we have our first service, one group sits here where it's down, no one sits there where it's up, and then we're going to flip one up, and then flip one down. That way people can use it. They put forward the whole guidelines of hymnals and not using hymnals, but here's the problem with that. No hymnal, no bulletin, we're all looking up at the screen, and what happens? All the stuff in our mouth goes. So whether we talk or sing or anything, it just goes out. And especially if we're looking all at the same place, it goes to the same place. Now that's not really a very hygienic way to do things. Of course, it's one of the reasons they've suggested using masks, but not everyone can wear a mask. And when we gather in church, the important thing is the hearing, the praying, the responding to the Word of God. And so what we're going to do instead is we are going to use hymnals. But here's the thing about hymnals, because hymnals are wonderful things, is that when you have your hymnal open and you're singing into your hymnal, guess where the stuff in your mouth goes? It goes right into the hymnal. And then what happens? You close the hymnal. It's there in the hymnal. Now, the reason the good governor said not to use hymnals is because he thinks that people use multiple hymnals or the same hymnal multiple times and multiple people will touch it. Here's the thing, we're not going to do that. After service is done, you're going to close that hymnal, and if it's yours, you're just going to take it home. Okay? No harm, no foul, no nothing done. If it's not yours, if you used it from the church, you're going to take it with you, and you're going to set it right here in the shelf. Just like that. Now, if you set it in a nice, neat stack, it'll make it a lot easier because then someone won't have to come behind you and straighten it. It will stay there for a week. The virus can only live up to 5 days on different surfaces, according to the CDC. So after the week, anything that was in that hymnal is dead. And then the next Sunday, we'll come along, take it out, and put it in its place. What we're going to do then after the service is take a new bunch of hymnals that were in the back that were never touched during the first service, and we're going to put them out into that empty pew rack, into that seat that will then be flipped over for use, so that then it's a whole new set of hymnals, a whole new set of spaces, and you're not touching or using anything that anyone has used. With that, also, we will have provided face masks for those who do not have their own, and we're strongly advising still that if you have a face mask or if you want to use it, that you do so. For Pentecost Sunday, we're still going to gather for communion, and we're going to do it like we did it on Easter Sunday. We'll set each individual family's trays down on its distinct place, and people will come up by family group. And just like we do on Sunday, you'll come out of your pew, you'll come up here, you and your family will receive the elements that are there, and then you'll go back around the outside, so that then you're not coming anywhere near anyone else. And then as we leave on Sundays, a little bit different than normal, you're going to want to dismiss from the rear of the church first. Because then, as you leave, the people in the pews behind you don't have to come in contact, and it just avoids some more of that distancing issues so that everyone can be safe, everyone can be protected, everyone can be well. What's going to be different about the rest of the month of June compared to Pentecost Sunday is that because it is Pentecost and because it is confirmation, we're absolutely going to do communion in service on Pentecost Sunday. But throughout the rest of the month of June, what we'd like to do in order to do the most sanitary thing possible is hold services in the sanctuary that are without communion, and then ask you to sign up in person or online. I'll have both lists going for communion on Wednesdays. I'll be here till 7 to do that, and what we'll do is we'll do that in the fellowship hall. And right quick, let's take a second. I'll take you over to the fellowship hall. As we head over to the fellowship hall, you've got this connecting hallway here, and one of the things I want to ask you is that if you don't need it, for your handicap accessibility, don't use the connecting hallway here. And especially if you do, try not to touch the handrails. We're going to be wiping them down anyways, along with the doorknobs and the like, but just try to keep from touching the handrails. That would be very helpful if you have to come this way. So as you enter the fellowship hall, here's the big thing I'd like to ask you to do. We're going to try and hold all the doors open, but you see this happy button? Can you grab your elbow or your knee and pop that? That way it's not your hands touching the door. That way it's not your hands touching the button. And so you come into the fellowship hall, got the hand sanitizer that'll be there, ready for you, enabled, got some masks there when you're ready. And as you come through, well, first of all, hey, I want to point out, if you haven't seen it yet, here is the new kitchen floor. And man, doesn't that look great? Thanks to Kevin and Roger and Russ and all the folks who helped put that together for us. I believe his name was Scott. A big shout out to him for putting it down after the guys took it up. Right, and here in the fellowship hall, everything is spaced out with the required 6 feet of distancing. So all of the tables are at least 6 feet apart from each other. And what's more, it's kind of nice, the tables are 7-foot tables. So if somebody sits here at the head of one, and you're just one person, and you come on over, and you sit here at the head end of the other side of the table, you're 6 feet away. And you're still 6 feet away from that table there. So you can sit by family group, one family per table, or one individual on one end, and one individual on the other. Some of you may have been asking, hey Pastor, what's the deal with the table over the window? The window that the table is covering creates a horrible glare on the TV. And so the table is just there while I'm recording the Bible studies so that it doesn't show up on the TV through the window. During the Wednesdays in June, we will gather for the communion distribution service, just a short service here in the fellowship hall. And what I'll do is I'll have the communion elements set up, consecrated over there on cabinets, which will be our altar for the time being while we're doing this, and consecrating them there by individual family plate, and then I will bring them out with a mask on, set them down on the table for your family to receive. And then when I say take, eat, well, you take and eat. It'll be another week before people gather, which in that, again, that 5 days worth of viability of the virus means that the virus will be dead. And that way, every time we gather, it is a clean, it is a sanitary place. That way we can continue doing the Lord's work and ministry here at St. Paul's, giving the good gifts of the Lord to his people in both word and sacrament. You know, I hope that helps give a little more insight into how we're going to do things and how we're taking care of people during this time. If you have any thoughts, any questions, any comments, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a message, send me a Facebook note, or whatever works best for you. Until then, look forward to seeing you on Pentecost Sunday. Thanks, and God bless.